Now, if I were a coach, I'd want to have two players in my starting lineup to be regulars in all matches that they play. Player number one, a player with the will and motive to win. And player number two, a player who'd maintain his calm and also keep his cool during tough times. I mean, maintain and work well under pressure. And of course, talking about pressure, the FKF Kenyan Premier League is under pressure because these two teams, Tusker and Gor Mahia, of course, log leaders. Tusker coming up at 54 points and Gor Mahia following them closely with 53 points, which our today's footprint brought us to one man, Johnathan Mckinstry, who happens to be the Gor Mahia head coach. And just to get a glimpse of what he has to say in line to their big fixture, the match against Kenya Police FC. Don't go anywhere. Remember, this is Sportseye across all social media platforms. My name is Oronje Kusimba.
Well, we're expecting a very tough encounter. We know Kenya Police look same as in the first leg, a very experienced team, a lot of technical players, many of whom have been part of the Kogalo family in the past. And in the first leg in the season, it was an extremely tough game. We managed to come out with a good 2-1 victory. Kenya Police are probably a little bit frustrated by the season they've had so far. You know, there's been a lot of draws in there, and they're maybe a few points behind where they would like to be. But we know, after they've just come off a really good 4-0 victory against Vihiga at midweek, we're expecting them to, throw everything at us because their season's not done by any stretch of the imagination. They've got another game in hand, and we're expecting a team that will move the ball very quickly on a good surface here at Kasarani, and we're expecting players who will be quick and try and get in behind. And obviously, in Elvis Rapia, they've got an incredibly, hot marksman, second top goal scorer in the league, and, they've naturally added to that in the likes of Derek Otanga, and they've signed a few other top quality players in the mid-season. So, we're expecting an incredibly tough game, but we also know, we're where we are in the league because we've got some good players as well. And so, we're expecting a tough game, but we're ready for it.
Okay, and now speaking of pressure, because we are seeing a lot of pressure mounting up, there is Tusker, obviously, who are now top of the log. Now, can you just briefly explain how you're absorbing that kind of pressure?
Well, I think with 9 games to go, there's everything to play for in the league. I think Kenyan football supporters, it's an exciting end to the league. Yes, sometimes people say that they would like to have an easy ride to the finish line, but actually the competitions and the leagues that are most memorable are the ones where you have 2 or 3 teams really fighting it out. And we said earlier in the season, when Tusker had a little bad run of form, we said we didn't expect that to remain. We knew come sort of May, June time that them and 1 or 2 others would still be fighting hard at the top of the table. And for us, our objectives in the season haven't changed. We said at the very beginning we want to get to June in those last 3 or 4 games and be in the conversation, be in that competition at the top of the table, and that's where we're looking to be. So we've got 9 games to go. The first one, obviously, against Kenya Police is a huge game, but we know no game is worth more than any other game. The value of getting a victory against a rival at the top is diluted somewhat if you then drop points against a mid-table team or a team towards the bottom. But you cannot disrespect other teams because teams are trying to avoid relegation. Players are fighting for their contracts, for their livelihoods, and these games are incredibly tough. So we're expecting a difficult 9 games, but that's not just for us. That's for our rivals in the league. It's the same for Tusker. It's the same for KCB and Zoia, Police. 9 games to go. There's a lot of football still to be played.
Okay, now speaking of dropping points, we're looking at you heavily assessing your team. And what can you explain is the mood in the camp, given that all the players know what is at stake at this particular moment?
Yeah, I think obviously we come off what was a very disappointing, not just result, but performance in the last game against Posta Rangers. And for us, we weren't happy from the very first. If you go back and look at the game, really we consider ourselves lucky not to be behind in the first 1 or 2 minutes. Posta, from a short corner, had a man completely unmarked in the box, and we were very fortunate not to go 1-0 down early on. And even though we did well, we've got a very clinical marksman in Benson Omala and some good crosses into the box. And we did well in moments to take the lead against Posta last week. But make no mistake about it, on the technical bench, we were looking at making changes as soon as the 20th minute. Because at no point were we in control of that game. Posta were continuously making inroads into our half, and we were very fortunate to be in the lead at half-time. And if anything, I can say Posta 100% deserved to get points from the game. And so for us, Yes, we're disappointed by the result, obviously, when you're 2-0 up, but we are even more disappointed by the performance because we've put in some top performances recently against Bandari, against Sofapaka, against, in all of the games recently we've put in top performances, but that dropped away against Pasta. But look, anytime we've put in a below par performance this season, the players have come, raging back, they've come fighting back, and so that's what's expected of them against Kenya Police this weekend, to come back and show the best version of themselves for 95 minutes.
Okay, I'm really interested in knowing how you feel and maybe your experience in this particular league, comparing the fact and also given the fact that you've been in environments such as Uganda and also Rwanda, to be precise. Can you just comment about this specific period and time about this league? Is it something that you're witnessing for the very first time, or is it just in some of a way we can also call it some drama, because the cup is with Gor Mahia, it's also not with Gor Mahia, it's with Tusker. Anything can happen with less than 10 games.
Yeah, like for me, look, there is pressure. There's no doubt about that. But there was pressure from pre-season. But for me, this is why you get involved in professional sports. It's that competitive nature. Professional sports would not be fun. It would not be fulfilling if there was no competitiveness. If you simply ran away with competitions with no rivals, there would be no enjoyment in the game. So for me, to have that close-fought competition adds to the enjoyment. It adds to the, just the focus that it brings to us. Because we know, look, for supporters and for media, the focus naturally, as it should be, is on match day. There's 95 minutes and that's all that people see. But in essence, we know Monday to Friday, the work that goes in on the training ground, the quality that needs to be there. And what you have to rely on is, if you know that there's quality Monday to Friday, that more often than not, you're going to get what you deserve at the weekend. Doesn't happen every week. Sometimes football's a strange game like that. Sometimes you can play the best game of your life and lose, and other games you can play the worst game of your life and win. That's the nature of football. It's a funny game like that, but yeah, we're enjoying that pressure. We're enjoying that environment because, there's nowhere to hide. It's a bit like, prize fighters, boxers. When you step into the ring, you've got nowhere to go. You don't leave that ring until the fight is over, until the competition is over. And so for us, we're in it right until the last minute of the last game. We're certain of that. And we're enjoying the challenge, but we also know who we are and our history brings expectations.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. I appreciate for that. I'm hoping they've coached you enough with some Swahili also, because I wanted to test your Swahili jargon as well.
Asante sana.
Asante sana. Okay, thank you very much, Jonah. And now that has been Jonah just explaining to us his sentiments in regards to the Kenya Police match. It's going to be a big one, no doubt, because the table is locked. And I might as well be safe to say that no one is running away from the competition. And just from his words himself, he says that it's like a boxing match. You are in and you have to stay till the final whistle. So from us here, Sports Eye, all we are left to do is just to tell you can like us and interact with us via our social media platforms at Sports Eye across all social media platforms. My name is Wanja Kusimba.